Hi there, ALP students, and welcome to our version of Richard III. It is a reader's theater version, and we hope that you enjoy it. And thank you for letting us do this for you.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the son of York. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed the wrinkled front. He capers nimbly in front of his lady's chamber, to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, I, that am rudely stamped by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce, half made up, and so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, I am determined to prove a villain. Plots I've laid, inductions dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, in deadly hate, to set my brother Clarence and the king, the one against the other. Dive thoughts deep down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Brother, good day. What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace?
His Majesty, tendering my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the tower.
Why, this it is when men are ruled by women. 'Tis not the king that sends you to the tower. My Lady Grey, his wife, Clarence. 'Tis she that tempers him to this harsh extremity. We are not safe, Clarence. We are not safe. Meantime, this deep disgrace in our brotherhood touches me deeper than you can imagine. Farewell, I will unto the king.
I must perforce. Farewell.
Go, tread the path that thou shalt ne'er return. Simple, plain Clarence, I do love thee, that I shall shortly send thy soul to heaven. Clarence hath not another day to live, which done, God take King Edward to his mercy, and leave the world for me to bustle in, for then I'll marry Warwick's youngest daughter. What though I killed her husband and her father?
For king-cold figure of a holy king, that bloodless remnant of that royal blood, oh, cursed be the hands that made these foals, cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it. If ever you have wife, let her be made more miserable by the death of thee. Avaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell, thou hast but power over his mortal body, his soul thou canst not have, therefore be gone.
Sweet saint, for charity, be not so cursed.
Behold, this pattern of thy butcheries. Oh, see dead Henry's wounds, open their congealed mouths and bleed of flesh. Blush, thou lump fowl of deformity, for 'tis thy presence that exhales this blood. From cold and empty veins where no blood dwells, thy deeds inhuman and unnatural provokes this deluge most unwanted.
Divine perfection of a woman, I did not kill your husband.
Why then, is he alive?
Nay, he is dead, and slain by Edward's hands.
In thou foul throat thou lies. Queen Margaret saw thy murderous falcation smoking in his blood.
I was provoked by her slanderous tongue.
Thou wast provoked by thy bloody mind, that never dreamst on a thought but butcheries. Didst thou not kill this king?
I grant you.
Dost thou grant me, hedgehog? Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The better for the King of heaven that hath him.
He is in heaven, where thou shalt never come, and thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you'll hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your heart. Your beauty was the cause of that effect. Your beauty that did haunt me in my sleep to undertake the death of all the world, so I might but live 1 hour in your sweet bosom.
Black over night over shade. Thy day and death thy eye. It is a quarrel just and unreasonable, to be revenged on him that killed my husband.
He bare fit thee, lady, of thy husband. Did it help thee to a better husband?
Where is he?
Here. Why dost thou hit me?
Would it be mortal poison for thy sake? Out of my sight, thou dost infect my eyes.
Thine eyes, sweet lady, have infected mine. Thy beauty hath made them blind with weeping. Lo, Here I tend thee the sharp-pointed sword and humbly beg death upon my knee.
Arise, dismemberer. Though thou wish thy death, I will not be thy executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I will do it.
Take is not to give.
Look how my ring encompasseth thy finger. Even so thy heart encloth my poor heart, if thy poor devoted servant may but beg one favor at thy gracious hand, thou dost confirm his happiness forever.
What is it?
After I have solemnly interred and wet his grave with my repentant tears, I will with all expedient duty see you. Grant me this boon.
With all my heart, and much it joys me too, to see you are become so penitent. Farewell.
Was ever woman in this humor won? Was ever woman in this humor wooed? I'll have her, but I shall not keep her long. What that I killed her husband and his father. I have no friends to back my suit at all, but the plain devil in disassembling looks. Shine out, fair sun, till I've bought a glass, that I may see my shadow pass. They do me wrong, and I will not endure it. Who is it that complains unto the king that I forsooth them stern and love them not? I must be held a rancorous enemy.
Come, come, we know your meaning, Brother Gloucester, and you envy my advancement and my friends.
Our brother is imprisoned by your means, myself disgraced and the nobility held in contempt.
I never did incest his majesty against the Duke of Clarence. My lord, you do me shameful injury, falsely to draw me in these vile suspects. Small joy I have in being England's queen.
Thy honor, state, and seat are due to me.
'Tis time to speak, my pains are quite forgot.
Ouch, devil! Thou killest my husband Henry in the Tower, and Edward, my poor son at Tewkesbury. A murderous villain, and so still thou art.
Foul, wrinkled witch, what makest thou in my sight? Wert thou not banished on the pain of death?
I was, but I do find more pain in banishment than death can yield me here by my abode. A husband and a son thou owest to me, and thou a kingdom, all of you allegiance. This sorrow that I have by right is yours, and all the pleasures you usurped are mine. Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then give away dull clouds to my quick curses? Edward, thy son, that is now Prince of Wales, for Edward our son that was Prince of Wales, die in his youth by like untimely violence, thyself a queen for me that was a queen. Outlive thy glory like my wretched self. Long mayest thou live to wail thy children's death, and see another as I see thee now, decked in thy rights as thou art stalled in mine. Long die thy happy days before thy death, and die neither mother, wife, nor England's queen.
Have done thy charm, thou hateful withered hag.
And leave out thee. Stay, dog, for thou shalt hear me. No sleep closed up that deadly eye of thine, unless it be while some tormenting dream affrights thee with the hell of ugly devils. Thou elvish marked, abortive, rooting hog, the slave of nature and the son of hell, thou slander of thy heavy mother's womb, thou loathed issue of thy father's loins. Poor painted queen, vain flourish of my fortune, why strewest thou sugar on that bottled spider whose deadly web ensnareth thee about? Fool, fool, thou whetst a knife to kill thyself. The day will come that thou shalt wish for me to help thee curse this poisonous bunchback toad. Oh, Buckingham, take heed of yonder dog. Look when he fawns, beware of him. Sin, death, and hell have left their mark on him.
What doth she say, my lord of Buckingham?
Nothing that I respect, my gracious lord.
What? Dost thou scorn me for my gentle counsel, and soothe the devil that I warn thee from? Oh, but remember this another day, when he shall split thy very heart with sorrow.
My hair doth stand on end to hear the curses.
The secret mischiefs that I've set abroach I lay unto the grievous charge of others, and thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends stolen forth of holy writ, and seem a saint when I most play the devil.
We are now on Act 4. A lot has happened since Act 1. Richard caused the murder of his brother Clarence. Now to Richard, no one likes a bully. And Richard somehow managed to become king, but he is not happy yet. So he asks his ally Buckingham to murder Elizabeth's sons, the two young princes. Richard is on a roll.
Cousin of Buckingham,
My gracious sovereign.
give me thy ear. Ah, Buckingham, now I do play the touch to try if thou be current gold indeed. Young Edward lives, think now, what should I say?
Say on, my loving lord.
Why, Buckingham, I say I would be king.
Why, so you are my thrice renowned liege.
Am I king? But 'tis so. Edward lives.
True, noble prince.
Shall I be plain? I wish the bastard's dead, and I would have it suddenly performed.
Give me some little breath, some pause, dear lord, before I positively speak in this.
High-reaching Buckingham grows circumspect. No more shall he be the neighbor to my counsels.
James and Tyrell, and your most obedient subject.
Dost thou resolve to kill a friend of mine?
Please you, but we'd rather kill two enemies.
Oh, why then thou hast it. Two deep enemies, Tyrell. I mean those bastards in the tower.
We will dispatch it straight.
My lord, I claim the gift my due by promise, for which your honor and your faith is pawned, the earldom of Hereford, which you have promised I shall possess.
I'm not in the giving vein today.
And is it thus? Repays he my deep service with such contempt? Made I him king for this? Oh, let me be gone, while my fearful head is still on.
So now prosperity begins to mellow and drop into the rotten mouth of death. Here in these confines slyly have I lurked, to watch the waning of mine enemies. Who comes here?
My poor princess, my tender babes, hover about me with your airy wings and hear your mother's lamentation.
So many miseries have crazed my voice, that my woe-wearied tongue is still and mute.
I had an Edward till a Richard killed him. I had a Richard till a Richard killed him. Thou hadst an Edward till a Richard killed him, and a Richard too. From forth the kennel of thy womb hath crept a hellhound that doth hunt us all to death. That foul defacer of God's handiwork. Thy womb let loose to chase us all to our graves. Yeah, earth gapes, hell burns, saints pray to have him conveyed from hence. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray, that I may live and say the dog is dead. Thou didst usurp my place, and dost thou not usurp the just proportion of my sorrow? Now, thy proud neck bears half my burden yoke, from which even here I slip my weary head, and leave the burden all on thee. Farewell, York's wife, and queen of sadness chance. These English woes shall make me smile in France.
Who intercepts me in my expedition?
Tell me, thou villain slave, where are my children?
Art thou my son?
Madam, I have a touch of your condition, that I cannot brook the accent of reproof.
Thou camest on earth to make the earth my hell. A grievous burden was thy birth to me. Therefore take with thee my most grievous curse. The little souls of Edward's children. Bloody thou art, bloody will be thy end. Shame serves thy life and doth thy death attend.
Stay, madam. I must have a word with you. You have a daughter called Elizabeth. I love thy daughter, and do intend to make her Queen of England.
How canst thou woo her?
That I would learn of you.
Shall I be tempted of the devil thus?
Aye, if the devil tempts you to do good.
Yet thou didst kill my children. Shall I go win my daughter to thy will?
And be a happy mother by the deed.
I go.
Oh, relenting fool and shallow-changing woman.
Guess what happened to Richard's only real ally, Buckingham, for refusing to kill the two young princes? You guessed it, execution.
Meanwhile, Richmond and his army are preparing to march against Richard.
Richard tries to get some rest in his tent, but the pesky ghosts of people he has killed interrupted his beauty sleep. Sorry, Richard. Payback is rich.
Up with my tent, here I will lie tonight. But where tomorrow?
Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. Think how thou stabbedst me in my prime of youth. Despair, therefore, and die.
Despair, therefore, and die.
When I was mortal, my anointed body by thee was punctured full of deadly holes. Think on the tower and me. Despair and die.
Despair and die.
Richard, thy wife, that wretched Anne, thy wife, that never slept a quiet hour with thee, now fills thy sleep with perturbations. Tomorrow, in the battle, think on me, and fall thy edgeless sword. Despair and die.
Despair and die. The first was I that helped thee to the crown. The last was I that felt thy tyranny. Oh, in the battle think on Buckingham, and die in terror of thy guiltiness. And die in terror of thy guiltiness.
Dream on, thy cousin smothered in the tower. Let us be led within thy bosom, Richard, and weigh thee down to ruin, shame, and death. Thy nephew's souls bid thee despair and die.
Despair and die.
Have mercy, Jesus. 'Tis but a dream. What do I fear? Myself? There are none others by. I prove myself a villain. And 'tis none other than I. My conscience springs hath another several thousand tongues, and every tongue condemns me for a villain. I shall despair. There's no creature that loves me, and if I die, no soul shall pity me. A horse! A horse! My kingdom for a horse!
God in your arms be praised, victorious friends. The day is ours. The bloody dog is dead. The bloody dog is dead.
Courageous Richmond, wear it, enjoy it, and make much of it.
England hath long been mad and scarred herself. The brother blindly shed the brother's blood. The father rashly slaughtered his own son. The son compelled been butcher to the sire. Oh, now let Richmond and Elizabeth, the true successors of each royal house, by God's fair ordinance, conjoin together.
Now civil wounds are stopped, peace lives again, that she may